Look at this guy. He's just up there, being a menace. That's how we're gonna start the vlog, with the geese geesing around. Ah, Jesus. Look at my shirt. It's My Hero Academia, because you know I have a Todoroki tattoo. Todoroki. Anyhow, so as you can see, I am in my office at Wayne State, and it's been a minute, like months, since I've been in this place. And as you can see, there's no sense of decoration whatsoever, because I just, On that other note, though, I'm still finding it really awkward to whip out my camera and start talking in some episodic moments. But I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna try to fix that whole arrangement. But I thought that at 3 o'clock today, it's 3 o'clock right now, I had a meeting with Jeff, my advisor, but apparently it's at 3:30. So yikes, I guess. So right now I'm just waiting in my office. But overall, it's been an eventful day, to be saying the least. Not a bad one, but we've been all over the place. I did some grading right now because I went to go meet with Josh at the library because he is there working and being studious because he doesn't want to do it in his office because he is not going to get anything done. So we were there and we were talking and we were being productive, and so far so good in that regard. But on that other note, um, there's been a lot happening in the world of academia, and there's one thing that I really wanted to talk about because I want to I want to show the other side of this coin. I know that I'm 2 semesters into my PhD, and I know that technically speaking, I'm still a little baby in this world. But I want to show you or talk to you about the struggle that I've been going through. And that struggle is the sense of accountability and the sense of all this freedom. Don't get me wrong, there is some sort of structure in the world of a PhD where you still have to go to class. And you have to do all this shebang in the sense of whether it's working, whether it's not working, and blah blah. You have to hold yourself accountable to your own standards and to do the work. So there's some TikToks of people saying you have to treat a PhD like a 9 to 5, where you have to force yourself to work, because if nobody tells you anything, then you're not going to do anything, right? There's been an ongoing flux of motivation and enthusiasm on my end, and that's because we've been working on my medication and trying to figure out if my meds are working, not working, etc., etc. That's a whole another conversation in itself, but it's been difficult. And honestly, sometimes I correlate happiness or my happiness with me working and doing brain intensive stuff. So researching, reading, discovering new things, having that little aha moment. But because of my depression and because of my sadness or unmotivation, there is times where I just don't want to do anything, and that causes me to be depressed, even though I know the answer is get to work because that's going to make you happy. So I've been kind of sort of suffering as a PhD student to find a middle ground of having a work-life balance or having a work balance, because there's nobody telling me that do it, or you have a deadline. And don't get me wrong, we do have deadlines, you have a paper due in a month from now or something like that, any stereotypical student has. But God bless these people, but since now you have a more intimate relationship with these teachers, that you know them more personally and you're their friend or whatever you want to call them, there is a sense of camaraderie or respect, or there's a sense of understanding that they know that you're a teacher, they know you're a student, they know you're reading, they know you're researching, etc., etc. So there's realistically no deadline for your assignments. And to be honest, that is saving my ass right now. There's no other way to put that. And so Godspeed to those people, because in one of my classes I'm missing some assignments, and some other ones I am as well. But there is still that sense of damn, like I feel guilty for not doing the assignments. But there's sometimes where like I have time and I just don't want to do it because I just don't have the motivation, or I'm like depressed, or I'm sad. And it's just something that I really don't hear a lot about. Like I've said before, and I'll continue to say for the rest of this like vlog until I'm finished, is that I've been working on the whole thematic of like dark academia and how it like embodies burnout, and how it approves burnout and overworking and like all that negativity aspect of being a student. And like I'm starting to notice that that's like the correlation that like real life, that like obviously this is a stereotype for a reason. And so it's kind of wild how like I do see it like that, where I'm like, if I'm not working, I feel like I'm a terrible student, or I feel like I'm doing a bad job, or etc., etc. So I'm going through it in that regard, but I don't know. So I guess I'll update you later. So this guy right here, he became my buddy based off of coming to school and parking behind him, and him always being here. Well, I'm assuming it's a him. I don't know. But anyhow, we're at Macomb Community College because right now I got to go teach my Composition 2 class. And we are going to be dabbling more on source evaluation and what that entails in the world of annotated bibliographies and argumentative research papers. But overall, it's been a pretty weird day. Or not today, but like in general. I'm trying to recover from being sick, and so far, so good. But honestly speaking, the weather here in Michigan is like all over the place, where like a couple days ago it was sunny, and then like yesterday it was raining. Today it seems like it's gonna rain again, and supposedly is supposed to rain all week, but I don't know. It's like very chaotic. On that note though, one of the things I wanted to talk about is that now, moving forward, I want to start all of my classes from everywhere with ethical debates. And last time we tried this, and I've been trying it for quite some time now, where I'm telling my kids that they are going to be listening and then telling me their opinion. Today, we're going to start with the debate that happened yesterday at Oakland Community College. And the debate was, if a student is using AI to write their paper like entirely, or to do their work entirely with AI, and them not doing anything with themselves, should the teacher be allowed to grade it with AI? And so we're going to see how that works, what people say. Because yesterday, a student said I should be allowed to do the AI work and turn it in as my own, because that's like my decision or whatever, but you shouldn't be allowed to grade my work with AI. And that sparked a little bit of a debate in class, and so now I'm going to see how it goes here. All right, class. So here's the thing. So like I said, we're going to try our absolute best for every single class session for us to start with an ethical debate. And this week, or this day, today, I have two. The debate that I want to have is, what are your thoughts? And again, I know this is going to be like a walking record or like a broken record type of thing, but assuming that for some reason I'm able to figure out whether you use AI to generate your whole entire essay, and you turn it in, you like copied all 5 pages and turned it in as your homework assignment, and then I figured out that you used it, is it fair for me to grade your essay using AI? Yeah.
I guess it depends, because like.
What the hell? How does it depend?
Well, because I mean, I don't know. Like, okay, I use it to like organize thoughts. And
No, I'm talking about like, here's a prompt, give me all 10 pages, and it writes a 10-page paper, and you copy and paste it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying like you brainstorm, you use it ethically. I'm using you straight up said, my teacher wants me to write a paper on world hunger. I don't want to do this crap. Give it to me, and then you copy and paste it, and then you turn that in. Go ahead.
I mean, if I get a good grade on the paper, I don't care what you grade it with.
Which method gives you the higher grade, you mean?
Whatever method.
Let's
Let's say
say
I was giving you a B and the AI gave you an A. You're like, man, fuck Professor G.
exactly. Let's say like I take your rubric, right? If you sent out the rubric,
Yeah.
just give it to an AI program.
Uh-huh.
They make me an essay that falls under these rubric.
Uh-huh.
You grade my paper through an AI. It'll probably be a good grade.
Okay.
You know, I'd say just give the paper a 0 and be done with it. Zero effort from you.
We outside. We outside.
We came for extra stuff.
We came for stuff. But right now, we're at Myers looking for stuff to make a burrito bowl or like a taco bowl or something bowl. Ooh, this is what she's looking for technically. But she left me. Look, she went all the way over there. Ah, brother. So, give me a second. Look at her. Look.
See, you should tell them about your chips.
Those chips,
Yeah, they're really good.
they're not sponsoring us.
Yeah, they're not sponsors, but they're really good.
Excuse my messy hair. Excuse my messy appearance. Excuse everything at this point. So there's a couple things I wanted to talk about, but I'm gonna do it in lining with the fact that I'm also trying to prepare myself for at the end of the month. I am going to be going to Las Vegas, Nevada, because I am going to be going to Magic Con. I am prepping by looking at my Magic the Gathering cards and looking at what I'm going to take or what I'm going to use and blah, blah. I predominantly play Commander. I used to play Standard back in the day, and I used to play Modern. I have a on and off relationship with Commander or with Magic the Gathering. Obviously, as of recently, I haven't played relatively actively because I've been moving, going into my PhD, etc., etc. But in the light of that, the last time I recorded was when I was showing you guys my class discussion about the ethics of argument and whatnot. And as you can see from what I'm going to be adding, a lot of conversation sparked on that. One of the things I wanted to talk about was that I'm going to put it right here. One of the articles that we dove into before in class in the past was that it's talking about the concept of students using AI. And to kind of like, long story short it, I guess, it is conceptualizing how the preconceived notion of AI in the world of academia is that people or students are copying and pasting. As in they're saying like, I have to write this 5-page paper, produce a 5-page paper, they're copying it, they're pasting it, they're uploading it to Canvas or whatever their client is and claiming it as their own. I think like, yes, you know, some people do that. I'm not saying that all students are angels or saints, but I think that it's kind of unfair to say that all students are doing that. And I feel that the discussion right now pertaining to AI in that realm is that they are saying, they being like the naysayers or whatever, or basically anybody and everybody, saying that all students are doing that. And I don't think it's fair. Like I said, I do think there's bad apples in the world, but I also don't believe that all of the apples are bad apples, and it is kind of unjust or kind of suckish that the good apples are getting tainted or damaged by the bad apples. I understand that whole conversation, but in light of that, that article that I'm like showing or whatever talks about how students are actually using AI. And I know I kind of sort of tackled on this whole perspective to some extent, but moral of the story is students are using it to understand concepts and understand their studies and their like classrooms and their like key vocabulary words and etc., etc. I don't have like the perfect example, but like for someone who's like in biology or chemistry or whatever, and if they're trying to understand what the mitochondria is because they never looked into it, they will like use ChatGPT for ChatGPT to explain what the mitochondria is in basic terms. The other thing that students particularly seemingly show through the survey and through that article, that students are using AI as a concept of brainstorming or outlining or creating and developing new ideas or new concept, or they vomit into the AI what they're thinking. Like, I want to create the new Harry Potter and I want to have my own concept of a fairy tale, and I want to have like da da da, but like obviously I don't want to copy Harry Potter. Can you give me some ideas to like generate the next Harry Potter or whatever? And so that's how they're using it, outlining, brainstorming, think tank, wall bouncer of ideas, and ironically enough, or like funny enough, a lot of students are against using AI with the sole intent of like, here's my prompt, write me a 5-page paper so I can turn it in and forget about it, which is funny because of the fact that a lot of people see students using it like that. And it's kind of wholesome and it's kind of cool to see how students are using it and how they're kind of sort of using it ethically, or they're kind of sort of using it correctly, or whatever you want to call it. And quite frankly, it is kind of disappointing, or it's kind of messed up that like academia in some sense is thinking that students are just using it poorly or incorrectly. And it's kind of like sad, you know? I don't really know how to conceptualize it. It's like we don't give them the benefit of the doubt, and because we don't give them the benefit of the doubt, like we just assume that they're cheating. In light of that, one of the conversations, as you can see from our argument, was that if a student uses AI, does that mean that the teacher should use AI to grade their paper? I just wanted to see what they said, and it was probably a quite fun conversation that we had regarding that. Ultimately, funny enough, I ended up using ChatGPT's voice feature to present this argument to the AI, or to it, and we talked about it in class while it answered it. And lo and behold, the concept that ChatGPT said to everybody is that although the student uses AI to write the paper and turn it in as their own and blah blah blah, like the teacher should not like use AI to grade the paper, because we are held to a higher standard and we have to be the adult and we have to turn the cheek and we have to be the one that teaches the student that this is not okay and this is not all right and blah blah. And everybody was like, oh, like, yeah, that's actually pretty smart or whatever. And that's like the concept that I ended up giving them, but I wanted to stir the pot more in regards to like, oh no, like this is, I'm gonna grade it with AI or whatever. Despite that, we've been teaching everything predominantly fast now because the semester is almost going to end. And in light of that, one of the things that I'm focusing on right now, my students are working on scaffolded assignments that lead to their final paper in my classes. Their final paper being an argumentative research assignment or research essay, which is like a 10-page paper where they have to like argue their topic and their side and prove it with facts and whatever, scholarly articles. Their last 3 assignments, right now we are on project 4 and 5, or 3, 4, and 5, is that project 3 is a research proposal, project 4 is a source evaluation, project 5 is an annotated bibliography. Although we touch base on most of those things, we are really just concentrating on project number 6, which is their final paper. Today, in the past week, we've been talking about source conversations, or like synthesizing on like all their sources, because their final paper requires them to not only find but use 10 sources to produce their argument. With that being said, they are learning how to have conversations between sources that help them problematize or help them find the evidence for the problem or their issue. But also, in the argumentative paper, obviously they're going to have a rebuttal paragraph where they're going to have a counter argument, and those counter arguments are going to have 2 sources that talk against them or fight against their ideas or whatever. and then they're going to have like a rebuttal or like an answer to the counter argument paragraph. So they're going to have two sources from that. So I'm teaching them how to do like cross-dimensional, multi-dimensional like argument, where they're going to argue these two sources with these other two sources and blah blah, and it's convoluted on that regard. But it was really fun because today I actually went beyond my textbook way of teaching, which is like PowerPoint presentation and talking and conversation, and we put pen to paper. We went back to the Stone Age where I printed out some worksheets and we worked on worksheets assignments, and some students were very receptive to that, even though majority of the students were like, what is this? What is a paper? And it was just funny on that regard. I am going to be going to an Easter hunt, or an adult Easter hunt, tomorrow. And so I'm pretty excited about that. Apparently tomorrow all day is also opening day for the Detroit Tigers, which I believe is their baseball team here in Detroit, Michigan. And so it's going to be very chaotic outside. So we're going to try to record that and see how that goes. So for now, I'm going to focus on my magic stuff, and then afterwards, in a couple of hours, or like a couple minutes, we are going to be doing The Pit, which is the series that I'm really into. So we'll see how that goes.
So we came to the Congregation, which is a coffee shop here by where we live. And today, I'm going to put a poster right here. It's a adult Easter egg hunt. And the prizes inside the little eggs are like drink vouchers, whether they'll be like coffee drink vouchers or like alcoholic drink vouchers. There's probably going to be like candy, and I don't know. I don't know what else they're going to have. Maybe they have like one of those like coupons that is like free coffee for like a month or whatever. But I think the event is only for like 15 minutes, and it's again for adult only. And don't get me wrong, we knew it was going to be kind of popular in the sense of like, because it is kind of fun, but we're looking around at our competition and there's a bunch of people. And so we're inside of the coffee shop right now, and inside of the coffee shop is packed, but they have like an outside patio and you can't really see it, but there's like a bunch of people, and there's even more down there. So the question will be, what's the game plan?
I'll use my experience in piñatas.
So we gotta push everybody.
Piñata blowing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to push everybody, and we're gonna have to find the little eggs.
Yeah. Liquid purge.
It ain't looking too cash money, to be honest. We'll be lucky if we even find one egg. I don't really know. Damn.
I'm scared.
The competition is competing. Look at this. I think the egg hunt is going to be at the park, and it's like over here across the street. But I'm not really sure. But people are packed. Like in terms of like, they're ready. They're ready to throw hands.
There are prizes inside the eggs. So there's 12 golden eggs, and they have prizes, drink tickets. There's drink tickets in the regular eggs too. Not all of them, but most of them. So you gotta get out there and get them. Only one golden egg per person, but you can get in general. Yeah, no, you can as many as you can find. As many as you can get to, as many as you can find. It's about 250 eggs out there.
Jesus. Oh, God.
Okay, so.
Oh, my God. Let's see how these people go. Oh, God, they're out here running. I'll be happy if I find one egg.
Supposedly there's 250, so
What?
I don't really know if there's an egg, and I don't really know what the crevice of this whole thing is. How far are the eggs? I'm really bad at this. I really just brought Sandy for this. She's the joy of sunshine. I wonder if she found anything. But I'm looking. I'm going. But it ain't looking it ain't looking too cash money, to be perfectly honest. This is outside of my purview. I don't think so. And I'm getting hot now. And I haven't done anything. This is fun though. I am enjoying it. I just don't have the same enthusiasm as majority of the people in this world. I'm still looking and I can't find any. But I don't even know where Sandy is. You see. Where's my child? No. Let me find. Oh, I found my child. Let's see. What's the verdict? You found eggs?
Well, not on this side.
I didn't find eggs.
I got 5 eggs.
You got 5 eggs?
I ran. I could have gotten more, but they took off.
How you doing? How you doing?
Let me catch my breath.
Uh,
Oh, we got a ticket. We got 1 ticket for a drink.
okay. Congrats. Show the camera, show the camera. Yay, you got a drinky drink. Huh? I don't know. Tell her.
Those are for drinks. You can get coffee, tea, or alcohol.
Okay,
Ah,
Straight into the bar.
nice. Post egg hunt interview. I didn't find a singular egg, but Sandy found 5. And then she found a coupon with the drink voucher in it. And she got that drink. I didn't like it. But thoughts?
Oh, it's good. I was trying to see what it had, and it has Bailey's, Kahlua, whole milk. I'm gonna ship myself a liter. And then nitro cold brew coffee and cinnamon.
I don't know. And now we're just here, vibing. We are currently outside. We are at Walmart because we came to pick up our meds. But also, we ended up buying some groceries. But now, we're at Subway. Because apparently, there's a buy one, get one free promotion. So we're just here. But this is like my child. She's always just sitting there. Now, in the span of how we are mitigating or how we're conceptualizing everything, I haven't really sat down with the idea or the understanding that the semester quite literally is going to end I think like in 2 or 3 weeks from now. And I know that's a long time in like me saying it out loud, but it's not necessarily a long time when you have to do a million things at once. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not really sure what the hell is happening right now. On the positive side of things, I managed to write. So one of the things that there's a lot of papers. One of the things that I was writing throughout the course of my this semester, was that whole dark academia thing. And I did manage to write a huge amount of it. Now, I wrote. So one of the cool things that the MFA taught me to do is that I officially know how to like turn off my brain in regards to being an editor. So whenever I'm writing and I'm producing content to write, I tend to shut off my editor mode, because if not, I'm going to be like, oh, this sentence sounds weird, or this sounds terrible, this sounds this sounds that. So I just vomit on the page and I type, write, and whatever happens, and that's like a future Manny problem. So I wrote, and now I am switching my brain to editor mode and trying to see what is not okay or what is happening. Straight out of the top of my head, I already know some preconceived things that I already know are terrible in this. For example, there is an article that I wrote by author G-E-E, and he talks about discourse. In his context of discourse, he talks about how a discourse is based on your like identity with props and like rituals and like essentially the things that you do in order to embody whatever it is that you are. For example, in the context of dark academia, your props such as like studying under candlelight in general, or like going to a cafe or going into a library, etc., etc. That's what makes you like a good student, quote unquote. But throughout my whole like article or like essay or whatever you want to call this, I kept reiterating the same definition, where I would be like, oh, according to G's discourse theory, he states that discourse means blah 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 blah, and I repeated that like maybe like 4 or 5 times, and I don't really know if I'm just supposed to assume that like they, if I say it once, they will remember it in the later, or should I repeat it every single time? So that's something like an internal monologue that I'm like dealing with, that I was like, oh, I don't really feel comfortable because I feel like I'm repeating it over and over again. So maybe I am, maybe I'm not. So there's that. The other thing that I was like conceptualizing throughout my whole thing was that some chapters look like they're working and some others looks like they're not. Some of them look long, some of them look very short, and I'm just like, so I have to read in order to assess that situation. The other thing was that I don't really understand two concepts of writing in the PhD world, which I'm starting to study and like copy and mimic from my advisor's journals. He's really good at writing his scholarly journals or whatever, his articles, and I'm trying to embody or mimic how he talks or writes in his articles. So it's like a copycat thing. I feel like Kakashi from like Naruto. But he does, like, one of the things that I'm questioning is, if you are writing in the context of a PhD student, are you supposed to write in the passive voice, or are you supposed to speak in the active voice? Or is one wrong and is one okay? Are both of them wrong? What exactly is happening? So there's that. The other cool thing in this context though is that overall I do understand that for your dissertation you need to have like an embodiment of a problem that you created and you have to propose a solution for. I'm thinking in two contexts. One of my personalities, or one of my identities, is the whole ghostwriter versus co-author dilemma, and I'm developing a framework and all that shebang, where it talks about training capacity, and it talks about English insecurity, and then it talks about writerly agency and confidence and etc., self-efficacy and blah blah. So that's one. And then the other thing that now I'm focusing on is subcultures, or understanding the world as a student and blah, blah. In this case with dark academia and blah, blah. And I'm making that context here. So now I'm playing with the idea of like my whole dissertation being chapter based, where we're talking about like how overall you should use AI as a frame of like co-authorship, and we talk about that, and then we're going to deep dive into the context of like what it means to be the ideal or perfect student, which is like glorifying burnout with the dark academia tonality to it and like all that shebang. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, and later I'm going to deep dive, is also, and I don't know if I'm biting way more than I can chew, but the other thing is that one of my other projects that I want to work on in the future is having that whole like ethnicity or heritage, or whatever you want to call it, thought process, where like, for example, me being Mexican, they tell you like ponte las pilas, like get on it type of scenario, where you have to be the first, you have the pressure of being the first generation student, you have the pressure of being like the older kid, or you have the pressure of being an immigrant kid, where they're like, oh, like I suffered to get you here to the land of the free, and like the land of like opportunity, so like use the best opportunity that you can type of scenario. So then I don't know if I want to correlate that to also like the identity aspect of things, and be like, because of the discourse of dark academia and the discourse of being a first immigrant or a first generation immigrant child, you have like a lot of weight in your head or in your back or whatever you want to call it, in your shoulders. And because of that, you have this English insecurity because of your accent, because English is your second language. And because of that, like you have security, or you have a sense of security when it comes to using AI and et cetera, et cetera. And that will be like the build off or like the scaffolded version of it. Each chapter is going to tackle something like that. But I know that this is like a long time from now where I'm going to like talk about that. Ideally, I don't know what's going to happen. But what I do know is that I am excited in working on some of this thing. I just don't know what I'm going to do. Hello. So today is Sunday, April 12th, and it's currently 6:13 a.m. I've been up since like 4 in the actually I've been up from like way later than that. I did manage to like take a bunch of naps yesterday, and yesterday was like my kind of sort of chill day, even though I did a little bit of work. There's a lot to talk about, but since it's like so early in the morning, I don't want to use my big boy voice or whatever. I was like up and about, but I did take some naps because I knew that I wanted to wake up early today so I can get some work going. With that being said, we were doing Couchcella, Couchcella, whatever you want to call it, and we've been watching Coachella through YouTube Live or whatever, and so that's been fun. But I ended up technically waking up. Or like getting out to do work at like 4 in the morning. And so I've been here grading papers from my classes that I've been quite sort of slacking. And honestly, I am trying to like put myself into like in the groove or in the motion of it, because like I don't want to leave it hanging longer and longer. And so so far I've been grading some. So far everything is going fine and dandy on that end, but there is a lot to talk about. But I also need to upload the video for today, and I don't necessarily know if this particular like segments that I'm doing right now is gonna go into the video, but there's a lot happening in the world right now. Well, not in the world, but like in my world. And so we'll see how that goes in general. But I wanted to do a little check-in because I haven't, and we'll see how this goes. So I'll talk to you guys later when I can actually use my big boy voice. So, like about 15 hours later, basically, and I am back, even though I had said that I was going to be back when I could use my big boy voice. Honestly speaking, I ended up doing a lot of work. I ended up actually finalizing all the grades, all the essays that I had to grade for one particular set of class. Over the course of tomorrow and the next couple days, I will be focusing on my other classes. I I have one more class that I have to finish, and I would have to like look into and grade their papers, but I think it's only like 8 papers or like 10 papers at most, so that's going to be pretty simple. After that though, I have to like go back to all of my other sections, because some students, I guess I'm too nice, some students turn in their papers late in general, and so I let them accumulate on my inbox or my email, and obviously they get penalized for it, penalized or whatever you want to call it, but I still allow them to turn them in, even though like I guess some people will shun me for that or whatever. But you know, there's no reason for them to be stressing themselves out in that regard. They do, like I said, they do get penalized for it, and you know, they accept those terms and conditions. But at least, you know, it's a lot better. It's better to get like a B or a C than to get a 0. You know what I mean? So I guess that's the flavor of the month on that regard. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is that I'm gonna post some pictures here, but I went into the whole aesthetic that a couple weeks ago, or no, like a week ago, my advisor Jeff sent me an email or a text message saying that like, hey, just in case you're interested, there is a call for proposal for like a blog, and it's like called something like blog carnival or something like that. You'll see from the actual photo. And they were doing a call for proposal that asked about the concepts of, I guess, generative AI or future technology and how they're going to be implementing them in the future or whatever. And so they were just asking for people to pitch in their ideas or the concepts, etc., etc. And so they asked for the proposals to see whether or not you will get approved or not. He was like, oh, well, you should go in it or you should try to apply to see if you're interested or whatever. And so I ended up doing it. I believe the last day for you to do it was on, I don't even remember, to be honest, like a week ago or something. I don't even know. I'm not going to lie. And I applied. And then today, as you are going to see somewhere here, I got approved. And so I will be actually having to write up and to propose a blog that will be published in regards to my ghostwriter and co-author aesthetic or whatever framework, and that will be published in their website, and hopefully will get me some brownie points here and there. So I'm kind of excited about that, especially because a couple days ago I was quite annoyed, and I know that this is going to be kind of annoying to vocalize because I know that it's kind of annoying in general, but I'm always on the constant go, 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 and I credit my happiness or my enthusiasm if by the success that I have to some extent. So I do know that comparison is a thief of joy, but unfortunately, I tend to compare myself to people a lot, and if I'm not achieving, then I'm ultimately failing, according to my brain. A couple days ago, I saw somebody on Instagram post how they are doing great in some regards to publishing and whatnot, and that kind of riled me the wrong way because we both started the PhD on the same way or in the same semester. And even though I presented once already, I still haven't published anything. And so now, at that time, I was going through it, and I understand that, this isn't a marathon. This isn't a race. This is a marathon. That unfortunately for me, my brain doesn't necessarily work like that. So me getting this like achievement or like accomplishment of like being approved to post something, hopefully it's gonna take away that like whole imposter syndrome or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I wanted to like contextualize that. Hopefully, over the course of this week, I catch up with everything in regards to academia, because I am excited to finalize and feel like I'm not drowning in work. I am still working on editing my stuff for my dark academica thing or whatever. And then I'm gonna see how I can go and expand it further. Fortunately for me though, tomorrow I do have to go see my advisor Jeff, and so I don't necessarily know what we're gonna talk about, but what I do know is that maybe I'm gonna bring up this whole subject matter about like doing like the big dissertation thing that I spoke in this video about. But yeah, tomorrow I teach at Macomb Community College. We're going to have a debate again. I don't know what, but we are also starting annotated bibliographies for that particular class because we're in project number 5 out of 6, and we are almost finalizing our way to our final paper. So tomorrow we're going to be doing all that fun mumbo jumbo stuff. I will be presenting my new thought process in the upcoming video. So Even though, as of recently, I haven't done an intro, I guess I'll do my intro as an outro. So, hello, my name is Manuel Gonzalez. I am a PhD student at Wayne State University in the English department. I am in the concentration of Rec Comp, and my emphasis is generative AI in post-secondary education. If you're new here, this whole channel is talking about the day in the life of a PhD student or the week in the life of a PhD student, where you'll see my ups, my downs, my lefts, and my rights, and whether that means it's something positive or something negative, who knows? In this particular week, in general, we did a bunch of stuff. We went Easter egg hunting. We went and experienced my little new project, and we talked about the ins and outs of PhD academic prose, where I'm still combating that whole like way of writing. But once again, if you're new here, welcome. Hopefully you like the videos. Hopefully you like what you see, and hopefully you coming back and watching the videos. But for those that are not new here, thank you for coming back. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. And for that being said, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.